Welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have the big granite beast, the Kenwood KD-3055. This is a fully automatic belt drive turntable. This one has come in for a basic checkover and nothing more. And we're going to do that. So, I recently did a 2055, which is the model below this. I believe that's the semi-automatic version. Like I mentioned, this one is the full automatic. You can tell because it's a start cut switch. It's got repeat, and it's got full manual mode, and it's got record size selection right here with this kind of cool transmission looking device here. Looks like park, reverse, drive, whatever. Neutral drive, yeah. If you look a little bit further in here, it's got an auto adjustment cap here. So just under there will be a screw of some kind. And your cueing device. And let's see what we've got for a cartridge here. Oh, we got a classic Stanton Triple E on a 681 cartridge. So that's a nice vintage cart there. And you know what? Well, let's take it off because we're going to be flipping this thing over. We'll take off our counterweight as well. And this is not the original mat, obviously. This is a Fluence cork mat. That's one thing I've never really heard any differences on is mats. I know some people seem to think that mats make a huge difference in sound. I haven't been able to hear it myself. But some people swear that they're hearing differences in mats. Here's our belt. It is relatively new. Now, some of you know from my previous videos, these turntables have a catastrophic fault. The motor mounts go. And I'm just feeling here. Tough to tell if this one's collapsed too much. The pulley seems a little low in comparison to the height adjuster here. This is the speed adjuster. Seems a little bit low, so this one might be sinking down. So I guess we won't know until we actually get it apart. So everything's off. We can turn this over. These are very, very heavy turntables. And I'll take these out together. So the Kenwood Corporation was originally known as Trio. And from what I've read, the Japanese company wanted a name that was friendly for the American market. And one of the things they did was look at a bunch of American brand names. And one of the ones that attracted them was Kenmore, the Sears brand back in the day. So that's where the Ken came from. Kenmore became Kenwood. And I have no idea why they used wood. Maybe because wood is friendly and warm and inviting. But I remember reading that somewhere. And now Kenwood has merged with JVC, and they are appropriately named JVC Kenwood. Okay, back to the 3055. You can see here's a big beast of a base. It's got all the feet are in great condition. This is the vent for the motor so it doesn't overheat. And we got a big piece of shielding down here to protect the tone arm. Now this one also has one of those nefarious motors. This actually runs on 120 volts AC, so if you ever have an issue with your auto return motor, make sure you're unplugged. It should be unplugged anyway, but especially when you're working on these. And the that's okay. The Pioneer, was it PL7? My brain's not working today. PL7, yeah, I'll put a link in the description if I remember. Okay, anyway, so we're having a look here at these motor mounts, and they seem okay. we're going to service the motor first. PL570? PL570? I think the PL570. Big beast of a turntable. Got a video on that one. So I'll show you these motor mounts and what happens. They start to crystallize. I don't know if it was the rubber, if it was a natural rubber, or if it was synthetic. But this one, yeah, these are not great. I'm going to say that. That's probably why we're seeing that that sink down the way it is. Okay, so if you look here, they're starting to crack and get nasty. And you can see how they're starting to deform. I don't want to touch them too much because they will break apart. This one's probably the best one of the three. This one is warped over, and this one is kind of squashed down. It must be where the weight is on these. The motor feels really good though. Still want to service it correctly. Okay, what's the date on this? I always like to see the date. The 1st of October, 1976. All right, so we'll zoom in a little bit to do the motor service. Now I'm going to let the customer know that he's probably going to want to order some new motor mounts. They are available. I believe they're available at Voice of Music. Okay, so I'm going to mark where the triangle's pointing first. Put a little mark here, and a little mark there. That way I know it goes back in that direction. And once we get this plate out of the way, the mounting plate, we won't have to worry about these motor mounts. Holy crap, someone has over oiled this motor. Holy moly. Whoa. All right, well, we won't be oiling the top bearing. Look at this. Okay, you don't need to do that. A couple drops will do you once a year. There are 2 oiling spots on this motor right from the factory. They give it to you. So that's why this is kind of discolored. It's soaked with oil. All right, we'll just put this here where it won't get destroyed. And we're just going to sop up some of this excess oil. Whoa. Very much over oiled. It's not going to kill anything, but it's unnecessary. I just want to get the bottom bearing off. And to do that, we have to release these nuts. There are lock washers underneath this. I just want to pull that bottom bearing cap off. You seen that okay? This one holds down the ground. So let's put a little mark here. So it goes nut, lock washer, ground, and then spiky washer to bite into the metal. And now we should be able to pull this bearing cap off. And as you can see here, Although the bottom bearing was totally soaked, this one's completely dry. So we're going to use a little bit of electric motor oil. Okay, 4 electric motors. And we're going to put the oil around the bearing. I mean, you can put it in the bearing, but you want to get inside this piece here is kind of like a foam, spongy material, and it absorbs the oil and keeps the bearing lubricated. So you just want to pop some oil in here, and it will go down. See the air bubbles pop up. Just give it a sec. It's almost gone down. You can see the air bubbles going as it sinks down, and it's gone. There, all gone. And just sop up the rest, and if you want, just for good measure, put 1 drop in the middle like that. And then put it back. Just like that. Like I said, we're not touching that top bearing because it is soaking with oil. It was a long day at work today, so not fun work like this. You know, the real job, the one that sucks your brain dry. Come on, baby, get on there. There we go. Much better. So actually deciding, I've got a few turntables I got to do, and I was just deciding, like, do I really want to record a video today? I just wasn't in the mood, to be honest with you. Not that I don't enjoy, you know, getting in front of the camera and talking to you guys, but some days you're just like, you know, I just want to get on the couch and do nothing for the rest of the night, because that's what your day job does to you some days. Okay. Alrighty, so we shall put this back now. Be gentle here. And get our motor screws back on. Okay. Right, so our motor is taken care of. Now we want to take care of this center spindle. I don't remember what Kenwood used, if they used a grease or an oil originally. It's nicely grounded. This whole turntable is beautifully grounded. I gotta give it that much. It's beautifully built. You just want to pull that. That screw acts as a prevention measure to keep the spindle from popping out the top, and it acts as a ground. This has never been serviced. It's dry. Look, excuse my head. Yeah, there's nothing in there. And it was a grease. You can see right there, grease from the factory. Just going to get rid of some of it. Ball bearing. Is that ball bearing? Do we have 2 ball bearings on this one? Am I losing my mind? I think I am losing my mind. It's just a 1. Okay, so we're going to want to clean this axle spindle here with some alcohol. Just want to get rid of all the old grease. And then we'll examine it for any scoring and see if there's any damage to it. So the problem is if you don't service one of these occasionally, what happens is the grease eventually migrates. And so the grease migrates because it's a semi-solid, and it tends to migrate, based on gravity. It tends to go down, end up at the bottom of the pit, or it seems to work its way up or into this crevice here, which doesn't touch any of the bearing sides. And you can see here, there is scoring. There's scoring there, and there's quite a bit of scoring on the lower part here. And I can feel it with my fingernails. And then there's really nothing you can do about this. And this is why you need to service this main bearing, and this is why I prefer oil, because oil coats the whole thing. And if you use a good quality bearing oil, you're going to prevent that friction. A turntable spindle doesn't spin very fast. It spins at either 33 or 45 rotations per minute, right? It's not a car engine that's spinning at 3,300 RPM. This thing doesn't spin very fast, but still, you are going to get that friction. And the lower bearing here should spin freely. A little ball bearing here. All right, so now we're going to clean out that pit. And we use, again, a little cotton swab and some alcohol. And you want to get rid of all the old grease. And there's disgusting amounts of it in there. I'm going to clean the sides really well. This is really filthy. Oh, God. That might be the filthiest bearing pit I've ever seen. Gross. Wow. Dirty. This one's going to require numerous cleanings, I think, to get it nice and clean. And having dirt in there doesn't help. That's just grinding away. And then you're going to hear that. That's one thing you can't get around. You're going to hear bearing noise. It's going to sound like a low scraping on your records while you're playing in a quiet passage. And it just adds to the noise level. I mean, you've already got the stylus, which is naturally making noise in the groove of the record just due to friction. And then you've got this going through the platter. And hopefully your platter mat is of, look at this, that's a third one. Hopefully your platter mat is of decent quality. I prefer heavy rubber myself, but like this one has a cork mat, and hopefully it's able to filter out that nastiness. I cannot believe this. So this is going down as the dirtiest bearing well that I have ever seen. There we go. Now we're starting to get clean. Excuse my head. There we go. Still a whole bunch of crap in there. Along the sides and stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry out for a couple minutes. And we'll be using a really good quality bearing lubrication. This is Masters, and it's good stuff. It's a little on the thick side, which is fine because this originally had a grease. So it should be absolutely fantastic for turntable bearings. It's got the nice oiling spout here. 5 or 6 drops in there. And then we'll put a little bit on here. Oops. Oh well. If you put too much, these turntables have a natural pressure relief valve where that screw goes. So there'll be no problem. You just want to drop that in. over oil it a little bit. So if you do over oil it, what you're trying to do is get the air out. So the best thing to do, if you don't want to keep pushing on this thing, is to grab your platter and just rest that on top of the spindle for a little while. And just let gravity do the work for you. So we'll just leave that there. You can give it a little spin if you want. You're just trying to get the air out, and it will come out because of that screw hole. So while that's dropping, I'll just pause and I'll be right back. All right, it is sitting flat again. So we're just going to flip our table over and put our screw back in. And we're just going to make sure that our bearing doesn't come out. So this is always fun. You want to, let me zoom out a little bit here. Put the screw in the screwdriver. A magnetic screwdriver works better. And then you just want to line up the ground with the hole and then get it started. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look here. If there's any greases or oils we need to service. These look a little, not sticky, just dry actually. Right here on the record size selector, there's not a lot of oil on this thing and grease. A little bit there, a little bit over here. We're just going to clean that off. Like I said, it's not sticky, it's just dry. So it wouldn't hurt to apply some fresh oil here, or some fresh grease. Just get off the old stuff. It's almost chunky actually. Let's clean that off. And here we've got a little bit. And this is not grease, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Clean this off. Clean this off. Although metal on plastic doesn't need a lot of grease. A little bit here. And we'll just use a synthetic grease to go back on. You don't need a lot. I'm just using a red synthetic grease here. Here. A little bit here. And a little bit on this post here. We'll just coat this with a thin coat. And that is enough. Okay. All right, I'm going to button this thing up, and then we'll get back up top, and we will take care of setting up the arm, and we're going to raise that motor pulley up and finish this one off. All right, we're back up top. We are going to set our pulley height now, and that's done over here. So the pulley will have a little screw on the side, and most turntables will have this little cutout right here so you can get your screwdriver in and get access to that tiny screw. And what we're trying to do, remember the top of the pulley is 33, the bottom is 45. What you're going to want here, because this thing, the speed selector moves the belt up and down. So it moves it down to select 45 and up to get the 33. So what you want is you want the center of this selector to be in the center of the appropriate spot on the pulley. And right now our pulley is sitting quite a bit down. So we're going to loosen this little screw here. Just like that. Actually, oh, this one's got two actually. You need a very fine screwdriver to do this, and whatever you do, don't strip this little screw. This spindle is actually in the way. Okay, come on. All right, getting there. There we go. So you can remove it all together. And then what you want to do is you want to kind of align the top of the pulley with the top of this mechanism. And that's usually the halfway point there. But before we do that, while we've got this off, it's a great time to clean this. This one's not dirty at all. It looks like it's been recently cleaned. But just a little bit of alcohol. You just want to clean that. Anywhere where the belt rides, you want to have it nice and clean. And another great spot to clean is the underside of the platter. We'll just do that right now. So you want to clean where the belt rides here. Just like that. I usually get off some dirt and stuff, but it just adds a layer of cleanliness that'll give you better friction. Okay. So now we can put our pulley back. And again, we'll line it up roughly with the top of the changer. And you just want to tighten down these screws. Right there. Again, tight, but do not strip them. They're soft metal, they're brass. Just like that. Okay, so that's better. And now we can check our speed. Okay, so we are running a titch slow. 45 is a touch fast. So, and now that I've moved the belt up and down, it looks pretty stable. And our belt is running right in the middle of the motor. You're just hearing the motor chattering as I stop it there. Yeah, it's looking good. Speed's stable. I mean, it might be like 33.2 or 33.1. It ever so slightly drifts back. It's not bad at all. It's very acceptable. So, okay, so that is working good. So we'll just stop that. And we can go about setting up our tone arm. And we'll give our stylus a cleaning. It looks very clean, so we're just gonna brush that off. And this one's got the natural brush here, so it probably keeps the stylus even cleaner. And you can actually clean the brush a little bit as well. Now, I can't remember exactly what this cartridge tracks at. It's pretty light if I remember correctly. Let's just check it out here. So the stanchion tracks relatively lightly. It doesn't look like the brush can stay up on this one. So it says 0.75 to 1.5, and a little heavier with the brush. Let's track it at 1.8 and see how that works out. We're way off here. We're going to balance this, obviously. Into zero balance, which is right there. Just a bit heavy. There we go, right there. This tone arm's very well balanced. Nice bearings. Okay, let's do that. Lock, and we'll set it for 1.8. And then we're going to confirm that weight with our digital scale. This might be more difficult than I thought. Oh, this turntable, I'm sorry, it needs to start, then the arm will lower, and then you unplug it. Otherwise, it won't come down the record. There we go. Pretty close. Just lighten that up just a bit. Okay, 1.81, good enough. 2, 4, 6, 8. There. And we will set our anti-skate for the same amount. So roughly there. I think we're good for a sound test here. Okay, we're on fully manual mode. I'm just going to cut that. We'll go automatic. We're set to fully automatic, so the arm should move to the first track, go through the record, and auto return at the end. Let's just see what happens. Okay, that works good. Sound is fine.
It's the sign. We strangers know each other now as part of a whole.
And now we'll just check our auto return. Got a little bit of a shift at the end there, but it is auto returning. Seems to be working fine. Fully manual mode, you pull the gear shift lever all the way down and press start. We'll just check our cut feature. So you can drop this wherever you like.
Inside you and let me hear.
And then cut. So it seems to be working great. As far as speed, it's good. Like I mentioned before, I keep checking my pulley height to make sure we're in the right spot. Unfortunately, that pulley is going to continue to drop down. That's the problem with motor mounts that are rotting. And what will happen is the belt will eventually start rubbing against the top edge of the pulley, and it'll rub against the speed selector as well, and then it'll start to slow down as you start to get that friction. So you'll notice it when your motor starts sagging, because your music will get slower and slower, and you'll start to hear that scraping sound in here. So that's another problem with losing your motor mounts. Anyway, so excuse me, that's the Kenwood KD-3055. This is fully automatic belt drive turntable, one of the Rock series turntables. There is no service manual available for this one on Vinyl Engine. I haven't been able to find one on the net. There is the service manual for the 2055, but it has a different auto return system. It's spring-loaded, whereas this one is an electric motor that does all the work. So this one's a little bit more complicated. So it'd be nice if actually a service manual would come up online for this one, because these tables do tend to, I'm not going to say break down, but they do have issues, and they require that service. So it'd be nice if we can get a service manual on this one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Like always, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.